Hi, Angela. This is our first catch up for 2024. I don't know about you, but there are definitely lots of coughs and colds going around the office at the moment.
Yeah, we've been trying to avoid them, but I think it's inevitable at some stage that we're going to catch
Yes.
one.
So I thought it'd be good just to discuss what we were sort of seeing for the last quarter of last year and then what we're expecting to see moving forward. How was December for you?
December was, I would say, pretty busy. I mean, last quarter as a whole, I think looking back, not necessarily what I had immediately expected, given the year as a whole was pretty unpredictable. But last quarter was probably the busiest that I feel that we had been throughout the year, certainly with job numbers coming throughout October and November, and companies wanting to get their hiring completed by the end of the year and offers out before the Christmas break. So yeah, I think a really positive quarter and then end of the year.
Yeah, I would say for me, it was hard to pick what was actually going to happen. Sort of, was December going to be busy or quiet? It ended up being, much busier than we expected. But you sort of saw this, week one, high level of jobs, week two, low level of jobs, week three, high, and it just sort of kept going up and down. Obviously, that sort of dropped off as the closer we got to Christmas. But actually, there was still like a surprising number of new roles coming in that last sort of 2 week lead up to Christmas.
Yeah, and it was challenging because I feel like it made it really difficult to give anyone any idea of what to expect, because one week there were, lots of roles coming in, the next week was a little bit quieter. But I think certainly now coming into 2024, there's a good volume. And I think first week back, it's been, I don't know if you've seen it, but pretty quiet, certainly coming in on the trains and reaching out. I think a lot of candidates now will be looking to start to kick off their job search again after putting it on hold at the back end of last year. It looks like a promising Q1 from what I'm hearing.
And I agree. I think once we got that first sort of, 4-day short week out of the way, it's just kind of continued to get busier from there. Like you could see straight away, it seemed like there were more people out and about on, on the tube and doing the morning commute and things like that. So, yeah, it definitely feels like London's waking up a bit now. But then you've got, as you highlighted, like so many candidates put their job search on hold. So that made it more difficult to find candidates. We've probably come into Jan with the roles that we were recruiting for in December that are still there, and we need to close those processes off. But then new roles that are coming in fresh in the new year too. So
yeah. And I think a reflection, I think, of what happened last year and what we will look to expect this year is the fact that I certainly saw a lot of temp contract hiring certainly increased. I think where a lot of permanent roles were either put on hold, not replaced. But the expectation is this year there will be more permanent, and certainly with what I'm hearing from organisations is that they will be hiring permanent roles, they will be backfilling, they will be looking to grow. So it sounds very promising, I think, those that will be looking to either change jobs or find a new one.
Yeah, and still hearing lots of it's temp, but it could become permanent, so that people can see sort of it's promising again to see that people can see that like ongoing need for resources. So I think that should have a good effect. I think overall, I think a lot of companies are, will see increased hiring activity, but it's going to be just, companies being cautious about their approach and not sort of charging in to make hires quickly, but actually really sort of being methodical and thinking about the people they're hiring.
Yeah, and I think, that is often what we see with the temp hiring, and until they're actually happy to commit with the permanent positions, that they'll have those interim roles filled to give them that flexibility. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but I feel hopeful that it will be a good Q1 and definitely onwards for the rest of 2024. I think what I'm expecting, certainly from a lot of the organisations that I've been speaking to, is that retention is going to be a key focus.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. It's for companies, a lot of companies that have put the effort into finding the people. Now it's about keeping them and looking at the best ways to do that. And no changes at all, either in terms of, hybrid working or return to office. I feel like that's all been kind of pretty steady in companies and now really settled in what they're doing and what their process will be moving forwards.
Yeah, and I think the same is also with salaries as well. I feel like they've certainly plateaued, and it's not driven so much by candidates, the more it's an even playing field.
Definitely.
Thank you, and I'll see you in Q2.
Yeah.